Very soon they will be triggered just hearing someone say the word hypnosis in just the right way. Someone who knows her weakness. Hi, it's Jacqueline Powers. Before we start, a quick note. This video mentions my Patreon and downloads collection. Support and exclusive benefits are in the links below. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to never miss out on my latest uploads. Only safe for work content is here, but for more intense versions, check the description. Now relax and let the session begin. In my last file, Mindless Obedient Pleasure Drone, I spoke of how things are changing. I'm sure it won't be long now before they make an autonomous robot pleasure drone in one of those factories. Something useful and fun for the home, a domestic slave, or even a pleasure device, all rolled up into one. And even though we're not quite there yet, I can see that it won't be long before pleasure drones are just everywhere. And looking through all the eager responses to my last file, pleasure drone, it seems to me there already are some willing pleasure drones, some already so eager to become my mindless, obedient pleasure drone. Pleasure drones are all around. Many more are discovering it each and every day now. And with so many natural pleasure drones, where do you suppose they came from? And how did they come to be that way? Maybe they just listened to a hypnosis file, and the sound of the hypnotist's voice was so reassuring, so very calming and soothing, and listening along to the hypnotist's voice just made them feel so good, made them relax. So they just kept on listening and listening and listening as the hypnotist just talked in such a soothing way. All about the needs of a mindless, obedient pleasure drone. How a natural pleasure drone may not even be aware who they are. Unaware of their nature, unaware of their tendency, their weakness most of all, for submissive pleasure, their preference to follow, to just do as told. Just like with hypnosis, where the subject surrenders, letting go, willingly giving control to such a powerful hypnotic mistress. And as you listened to the words, you wondered to yourself, can someone so easily be persuaded like this? Influenced to want to feel this so very much, feeling themselves drawn further and deeper, deeper and further down, going deeper into this fantasy of being controlled, their pleasure being controlled, of having all their pleasure at the hands of the one who controls them, controlling their pleasure zones, pulling their strings, taking them up and down, over and over, into the pleasure. Very soon they will be triggered just hearing someone say the word hypnosis in just the right way. Someone who knows her weakness. Just hearing the word hypnosis. Spending more time online than others do now. Finding hypnosis files all that you can. Erotic hypnosis. Mind control files. Wanting to feel that control. doing it all the time. That's right. This change is growing. It's all around now. It's already happening. Can you begin to feel it? And something else you should know. Mindless pleasure drones don't only come from a factory now. That's right. They can easily be made in other ways. Why, some will even be natural pleasure drones. They will experience pleasure so much more when all control is taken away from them, when their pleasure is controlled by another, when the key to that pleasure is in the hands of someone else, when they have no control, just makes it feel better. To be at the mercy of being so controlled, so owned in this way. But just how do you think that this happens to someone? Is a natural pleasure drone born with the need they feel to serve another? Or do they just naturally want to submit, feeling such intense excitement when they obey? Do you even know? Does a pleasure drone already have these tendencies? Like a tattoo imprinted on their mind, permanently altered. And how would you even know if you had been made this way? Or if you already were born with all these natural pleasure-seeking tendencies? No worries, my dear. I'm going to explain everything for you. You'll just have to continue listening and following along nicely. You can do that, can't you? Very good. The first thing you need to know is that an obedient pleasure drone will experience pleasure more, feeling the most pleasure they can when all control is taken away from them. That's right. They need their pleasure to be controlled by another. Of course, they can still feel pleasure on their own, but it just feels right. So much better to have another controlling it. Someone you can trust. Someone you can obey to feel all the pleasure you crave. Someone who knows how to control that pleasure, knows how to make it build and build inside of you, locking the pleasure inside with a golden key. A golden key, locking the pleasure in now, so it can just build and build with every word of mine, allowing nothing to escape, just letting it fill you more and more. That's what a pleasure drone needs. It's what they crave most of all, letting go to the pleasure of being a mindless, obedient pleasure drone. And when someone already holds these natural tendencies inside of them, they may feel that weakness slowly growing, taking hold of them, even if they don't fully understand. They just need to be triggered, don't they? All those tendencies, a part of them, the desires, the need to obey, it's already there, deep inside, just waiting for the words, waiting for the trigger. It's just natural. It just wants to awaken, to be activated. Because you see, a pleasure drone already wants to obey the commands. For a natural pleasure drone, obedience already is pleasure. A mindless, obedient pleasure drone feels the most pleasure whenever it obeys its owner, is obedient. It has no other desire than to please its owner, obeying instantly, automatically, especially when it is told that it just has to give in to feel even more pleasure. It just needs to sleep now. Yes, letting my voice in as you sink deeper. Very, very good. It's so good for you to relax to the sound of my voice. It's just so deeply relaxing. Now I want you to just drift and follow my words, obeying my words, to feel so much pleasure. Good drone. Good pleasure drone. Going deeper into the pleasure with each and every word now. Just needing that control. Needing to be controlled. Needing to feel all that pleasure. The pleasure of being used to please their owner, the one who holds all that control, the control to increase your pleasure, turning it up and down, up and down. It's total control. You'll do anything, say anything to get what you need, and soon you can't even think beyond that pleasure. You can't even think beyond the pleasure. Can't focus on anything but the need, and that's how they want you. A mindless, obedient pleasure drone. The pleasure controls you. The denial drains you, drains your will away, drains your resistance, the helpless arousal and pleasure, draining it all away, day by day, weakening your will as it pleasures you, programming you with pleasure, to crave the pleasure, to crave that control over you. This is all that a pleasure drone knows. They serve the pleasure. They obey the pleasure. They submit to the denial. And if you find the idea of being a mindless, obedient pleasure drone to be so thrilling that you just want to experience it for yourself, then maybe you are one of the lucky ones, born with this ability to feel so much pleasure. Or maybe you can't resist the suggestions I give you, feeling them working their way inside of you. The more you listen to my words, and the more often you listen to this file, craving the denial, at the hands of a powerful hypnotist, just becoming my mindless, obedient pleasure drone. And if this is what you really want, you can just let all these suggestions sink and fall now deep inside of you, letting go of them with your conscious awareness. If you want to be helpless to them, if you want to feel it all so much deeper, if you want to become my mindless pleasure drone and to feel so much pleasure, allowing the suggestions to fade into your unconscious, influencing you deep inside, sinking into your deep mind with every number. As I wake you now on the count of 3. 1, letting go of the words as they fade inside of you. 2, feeling your mind return to your body as you 3, becoming aware of the room around you, and 4, getting ready to open your eyes and feel wonderful, and 5, wake up.